My fellow Sierra Leoneans, comrades of the APC, and those who believe in democracy, on this 25th day of November, I come to for discuss the path forward for democracy in Sierra Leone. As you are aware, the BO-led government and the APC don't sign on to the electoral system review. We basically for address democracy. And we are at a crossroad because during the June 2023 election, there was an assassination attempt on democracy in Sierra Leone. And as we put democracy on life support to move forward, this presentation, they can provide some guidance as to the next steps for Sierra Leone first, for the APC party of which I am a member. And I make this disclaimer clearly because people may say my review may be biased or skewed because I am a member of the APC. But I take an objective view to this presentation because it is very important that we keep democracy on life support and make sure that democracy comes back strong. But before I do this, I want to invoke the current president of Liberia, George Weah, in his concession statement. Because at the end of this electoral system review, we need to resuscitate democracy, and we hope that George Weah, in speech, which is now an embodiment of democracy, not only in sub-Saharan Africa and Africa, but as the world in old. So let me quote George Weah. In his presentation, he said, "Tonight, as we acknowledge the results, let us recognize that the true winners of these elections are the people of Liberia. Through your peaceful and orderly exercise of your constitutional right to vote, you have once again demonstrated your commitment to the democratic principles that bind us together as a nation. Under my leadership, these elections were organized with a promise to the Liberian people, a promise of fairness, transparency, and credibility. I am proud to say that, for the most part, we have fulfilled that promise. The Liberian people have spoken, and their choice will be honored and obeyed. At this juncture, I would like to congratulate the National Elections Commission for a job well done. You have earned the respect of all Liberians, our foreign partners, international observers, and the world at large for completing this very difficult task to the satisfaction of all stakeholders, including the contested parties." End of quotation. Mr. Salon people, this section where I just read from President Weah in concession speech should be the embodiment and the outcome of this electoral review for let we wake democracy in Sierra Leone. You know, it will be funny to say this, but Liberia get the blueprint on the democratic process. Instead of we spin the wheel and go talk the way not relevant, let me take the Liberian blueprint, let me take the entire commission of the APC and the SLPP delegates, let me send them to Liberia, make them study the Liberian system, and make them come back and let them finalize that in the review. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, very difficult. Why is it going to be difficult? Because the components of democracy, the tangible things of democracy, are things that are built on certain principles. And so if you go back to where in speech, and Follett, it put exactly, there are things in there that you have to earn it based on your honor and integrity. Okay? And so one, there has to be a commitment to the principles of democracy, which is very, very important. And secondly, it talked about a promise. You see, promise is something where it has to come from your integrity. And you cannot promise and you don't fulfill it. And what are those promises? So it's a promise of fairness, a promise of transparency, and a promise of credibility. It looked like we lack all of that necessarily. So all of this review what we do. If we not get that promise of fairness, transparency, and credibility, we will not be successful in this outcome. It's a failed venture. Also, when they talk about the Electoral Commission, that they don't earn the respect. You see, if you don't earn the respect, if there is doubt in your electoral system, you will not be successful. So Judge Weir, now I don't give you the blueprint. So now let me talk about what the outcome of this commission would be, because we seem to be looking at tangible things. And I'm going to go through some of these tangible things, but I want to understand the importance of this. In the end, who should win? When we go into this dialogue, who should win? The winner for this dialogue should be the Sierra Leone people. The winner for this dialogue should be the Sierra Leone people. And not for the APC, and not for the SLPP. Because collectively, the APC and the SLPP, they make up the population of Sierra Leone. So let me start with where we are, and then we look at it. The country is divided into two right now. We have the SLPP and we have the APC. And the SLPP don't put an assault on democracy. And the APC, they fight to restore democracy. See, when the SLPP may win the election 5 years ago, they not been complaining to the electoral process, and APC did all they could. You know, Kyoki say, now rain will make bitters bitter. The same rain will come and make sure cane sweet. Now, after this rigged election, SLPP now say, well, we'll talk about reform. The reform was in transparency, credibility, and the Electoral Commission will not earn the respect. There is nothing to talk about but to put our integrity on the line. So what would happen with this dialogue that we have mediators? Sierra Leoneans, the mediators, as you see, then can't for separate the APC and SLPP. Nothing. They're right in the middle. As long as you have mediators, you have to make concessions that may not be in your favor. And we know, going back to the labor war and Fode Sanko, what mediators then do to give him so much concessions that in the end, the people of Sierra Leone, they end up losing. The only thing we gained from that mediation, which helped us, was peace. Peace. Because if Fode Sanko and the IEF don't get what they want, take the be vice president and take over the mines, we would not have had peace to Sierra Leone. So APC, comrades of the APC, awale una low on our expectations. So low that una come out in the end victorious. Already, APC, you have won pretty much all the way to una for win, way important. Una able to get this commission for sit as a result of una sit down, no participation in government. That's the biggest victory. It's not only a victory for the APC, it is also a victory for the Sierra Leonean people. Imagine if the APC don't take that stance, where would we be today with democracy and the process of our electoral system? So kudos to APC, una don't win that, and kudos to APC, una get all una members then in governance again, and that is the biggest win. From this point moving forward, APC, you are not going to win a whole lot. Because when mediators sit in, their goal is to make sure they bring the parties to the center. SLPP is on the extreme left on this issue. APC is on the extreme right. The goal is to center. And once you center, using the bell curve, as you could see right here for there, they will get PhD, we said, and do statistics. This is where your knowledge comes in to understand the bell curve and what it means with 97% interval and 95% interval and your 68%, what all of that means. This statistics will be the story for research. So it's a predictive model that I would use and to come out with the prediction of exactly how it would turn out in this dialogue. So APC, it's not going to be a lot of victory for you. The SLPP would gain, but in the end, the Sierra Leonean people would gain. So let's start and talk about the predictive results as I see them happening from this commission. The first predictive result is the release of the disaggregated results, which I know and I believe and APC should stand firm on because it is written in the electoral laws of Sierra Leone for that to happen. So APC, don't back down on that. But the quality of the disaggregated results you would get in the end would be so watered down that it's going to be numbers for numbers' sake. So, as it relates to the release of the disaggregated results, APC get the advantage of that, but I predict that with 80%, 85% degree certainty that APC would win this one and SLPP with 15% on this one. The next one, which is the dismissal of Mohamed Kone, where APC they insist that he resign and be dismissed. On this one, I give SLPP the advantage. Because what the delegates of the SLPP would say, oh, Mohamed Kone is independent. Now they're making decision. He is the electoral commissioner. We didn't give him the power to do this. And in basing results on what he account, who side SLPP for can dismiss and now way don't doing work. On paper it looks that way, but in reality we know that Mohamed Kone was significantly influenced. And if SLPP agree for let us sack Mohamed Kone or for dismissal, they are admitting to the fact that Mohamed Kone rigged the election. So SLPP will try to hold on to this one, and I give them the advantage because unless Mohamed Kone decide for resign, he still get in position. Unless BO agree for Sakam, he still get in position. So Mohamed Kone goes no way, so I give a 50-50 chance, but the advantage goes to SLPP on this one. The next one, which is the release of political prisoners. Now, you could see that most of the things that APC asked for were for the APC party, not much for Sierra Leoneans. We have to look at the total picture of the rule of law and people them where they don't incarcerate for no good reason, and not only political prisoners. We have to start thinking nationally what is happening in Sierra Leone. Even though I did give advantage to APC on this one, but the definition of who is a political prisoner under this system, APC not plan am well, and I know a lot of youths then who became vulnerable and fall into this trap of election violence will not benefit from this, but this is an issue I would address later. But only the people where APC know and the one for get out of prison, the select few, would be released from this. And the advantage is APC, and with 85% certainty, I believe that APC will get this, and SLPP is 15% on this issue. The next one is democracy, which is the big one. As I may not state in the beginning, the fact that we get to this electoral review is the biggest win for the APC. Is the biggest win for the APC. Now, at the end of this all, are we going to benefit short term or long term from this? The short term, no benefit. The long term, there's going to be a significant benefit that we are going to resurrect democracy from the comatose state and move in 2028 and beyond. We are going to get an electoral system that will be transparent, credible, and that will earn the rights of Sierra Leoneans to conduct election, and that is a big win. So, on democracy, APC, 85% certainty that APC would win this one, and SLPP is 15%. Next is the dismissal of court cases, which is also, this is just for the APC and for political leaders. And I don't see why this should be part of the process, but you could see how some people are all about themselves, regardless of where they fall, and not they look at the big picture. Now, I give APC the advantage on this one, because, the Bio government will give them this one out of credibility to say, well, we are making concessions based on the big issues because they want to win the biggest issues. And because some people will benefit from this from a private way, I give APC the advantage on this one, on the dismissal of court cases. But this one is something that we should question, because the rule of law is the rule of law. If somebody breaks the law, they should be charged. And I don't think anybody should get a free pass because they lost an election or they were part of the political process when there is credibility that they committed a crime. And for me, I have some great concerns about this, but I still give APC advantage. Electoral reforms in general. APC get the advantage on this because we are going to put things in place. And one of the things that APC get for stick as part of this reform, they have to set the date for the next election. That date for the next election has to come out of this reform, and henceforth it should be in a constitution. If it is the third Thursday of June every 5 years, we need to know it so we don't left them to the demise or the device of any political leader, and Parliament will come back and change the tenure of the presidency or parliamentarians. Those are issues that needs to be addressed, and it is important. It is important as part of this reform that the APC clearly state the things that should address for the next election that would come. So advantage, APC on this one. The next one is the presidency. All of this way APC they talk about, it's all about the presidency and Samoa winning or not winning and all of these things. Now let me make this clear. From my analysis and putting all the metrics together and looking at how mediators work, the mediators came into these talks with a peaceful country where there is underground movement but nothing major. During the mediation, you don't want to do anything that would destabilize the country. So at this point in time, the mediators cannot say or take away the presidency from Bill. It is signed, sealed, delivered. And I give the SLPP advantage on this one, that with a 97.5 confidence that Bio, at the end of this review period, would remain the president of Sierra Leone and would remain the president of Sierra Leone through 2027 going into 2028. So, SLPP advantage, APC, this one is not for you. The next one is the parliamentary majority. It goes in line with the presidency. Now, you totally, as mediators, get for upend one of Sierra Leone for, say, the SLPP not get majority in a parliament when they are duly sworn in. The president is duly sworn in. So, APC, let's think about this again. Going in, you could talk about the presidency, you could talk about the election results, no disaggregated results where Konabo pool would change the outcome, and mediators allow you to say, let we disband parliament, let we say the presidency is illegitimate. So on this one, let me make it clear to the APC, you are not going to get this one. SLPP advantage on parliamentary majority. The next is early elections. All of these things segue. If Bio retained the presidency and SLPP retained the majority in parliament from the talks, which, as I said, will not change, there is no way the mediators would allow a conversation for an early election that would destabilize the peace of the country. At this point in time, the mediators are coming in to say, let bygones be bygones, and let we lay them so, and let we build from now to the future. And they're going to start talking about the 2028 elections as part of these mediation talks as to how it will be done. And they're going to drag their feet intentionally with the reports and the white papers and the recommendations to the point that we may only get the full recommendations by 2025 or later in 2024. And by that time, late 2024, early 25, when these reports are being produced for the populace of Sierra Leone to read it, they are going to start talking about 2028 elections. Therefore, advantage, SLPP, and there will be no early elections before 2028. The last one is the resettlement of APC supporters. This one also is questionable. Unless APC they know waiting, we no know. I don't know how they're going to address this in terms of resettlement. They have to produce a list of people to the commission where they say we'll be run away because we're afraid, say, them will kill we, them will betray. And that list, once it comes in, get to be comprehensive, and there has to be protections such that these people on this list are protected from any harm that may come their way, or assault or attacks. Symbolically, APC is going to win this, but I still give it advantage SLPP. Because it's so difficult to say someone run away from a village kind of freedom, therefore we have to go resettle them. Are we going to take them with soldierman and policeman, go put them at them place? They say some man go Guinea, some man go Liberia, some man go overseas in America. How do you address this past a symbolic writing a paper of protection? For this reason, I give SLPP the advantage. Now that we don't go through all the major presentations and stuff, let's do a summary of where we are. Who do we think the winner is? Now, until the reforms take place, until we resuscitate democracy, until we believe we have a transparent, credible election, until we have an electoral commission that we trust and believe, that we're not getting a winner. As collectively the parties, then SLPP seem to be the winner in this one. Why? SLPP are the winner because they keep the presidency, then keep parliament, then keep Kone, and they get other concessions like no early elections, and those are big things for the SLPP. Whereas for the APC, their personal gains goes back to how they went into this reform. for political prisoners, for resettlement. You know, those things are very, very personal and very myopic in approach. APC went in for personal gains. SLPP are going in for party gains. And when it's all said and done, even though on paper, statistically, it looked like the APC the win, but that percentage, as you could see, is very low. It's outside the margins of error. But collectively, we not get any clear winner at the end of this all. And we hope the Sierra Leonean people would be the winner. So let me close again with George Weah for us to understand that this indelible speech that would ring in Africa for thousands of years to come, we should say it almost like an electoral pledge before every election and remind everyone after an election. And I quote George Weah again. Tonight, as we acknowledge the results, let us also recognize that the true winners of these elections are the people of Liberia. Through your peaceful and orderly exercise of your constitutional right to vote, you have once again demonstrated your commitment to the democratic principles that bind us together as a nation. Under my leadership, these elections were organized with a promise to the Liberian people, a promise of fairness, transparency, and credibility. I am proud to say that for the most part, we have fulfilled that promise. The Liberian people have spoken, and their choice will be honored and obeyed. At this juncture, I would like to congratulate the National Election Commission for a job well done. You have earned the respect of all Liberians, our foreign partners, international observers, and the world at large for completing this difficult task to the satisfaction of all stakeholders, including the contesting parties. End of quotation. Delegates of APC and the delegates of the Bio-led government, as we go into this electoral review, we need a promise to Sierra Leoneans that you would in good faith be true to a peaceful and orderly exercise of our constitutional rights. And that promise of fairness, transparency, and credibility, and to the Electoral Commission for earning the respect of all Sierra Leoneans. That should be the closing statement of this electoral review process. You could write all kinds of laws, but if those who should obey and implement the laws then not implement them, we are wasting time talking when we should be promising the Sierra Leonean people. God bless you. God bless the delegates of APC and SLPP, and God bless Sierra Leoneans as we await the promise, that promise for democracy. Thank you.